I'm going to make a controversial statement and say that we are not all beautiful and that we should stop telling our friends that they are. Wondered, how do I become more confident? How do I love my body? Well, I am pleased to say I finally have the answer after 23 years on this earth. So buckle in, kids, because we are going to go on an adventure of statistics.
That's everything. Next up,
body neutrality.
So there's a common misconception that if women could just realize how unrealistic photoshopped images are, that all of our body insecurities would just magically go away. But it's just not that simple. In fact, in Renee England's book called Beauty Sick, she even talks about how activists have lobbied for years to put a disclaimer label under photoshopped images that says this image was photoshopped. And strangely enough, this actually increased body insecurities in most women when they saw a photo with a disclaimer under it. And this is because the photo, and the disclaimer especially, still calls attention to the female physique. It still stops you in the street and says, hey, look at me, I'm beautiful, you need to be like this. And as the old saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. A tiny disclaimer isn't really going to do much, unfortunately. This was proven when Renee conducted a study, bringing a bunch of women in to look at these photoshopped photos of the ideal woman. And fortunately, the women were critical about it. They looked at the photo and were like, her skin almost looks like a painting because it's so perfect. And one woman even commented saying, the way that her hip bone juts out scares me. It looks like she's in pain. And even though the woman knew that these photos were unrealistic, they still desired to look like them. They would say critical statements like, this woman looks thickly thin. I can see her sickly thin. What am I doing? They would say things like, this woman looks sickeningly thin. You can see her ribs jutting out. But then they would directly follow those statements by saying, I wish that I could look like that. How can I get this look? And from firsthand experience, I can testify this to be true. Within the past year or so, I've lost quite a bit of weight, mainly due to just eating a little bit less and exercising a little bit more and just focusing on my overall health and well-being. And before I lost the weight, I could safely say I used to be okay with my body. I even enjoyed my imperfections. I would look down at my chipped nail polish and the natural flesh on my stomach and my unshaved legs, and I would love it because I thought that it accurately portrayed my humanity. I'm not a Barbie doll, I'm a person. And then I saw it. Someone had tagged me on Facebook in a photo, and like they weren't trying to be mean or anything. It's just that I thought that I looked really bad and quite overweight in the photo, even though the person who took the photo said that they would use a flattering angle. And I realized that I had changed, that my metabolism had slowed down quite a bit. Now, in the beginning, I thought that my intentions were pure. I only wanted to lose weight to get healthy, to preserve my body, or so I thought. Fun fact, losing 1 to 2 pounds per week is normal weight loss. 2 pounds is actually on the extremer side of weight loss. I'll be scrolling through Instagram and it'll say, lose 10 pounds by switching to keto. And first of all, you don't have to switch to keto. And losing anything more than 2 pounds a week is termed extreme weight loss and shouldn't be attempted until you consult your doctor. Also, another fun fact, do you know that 90% of the people who lose a large amount of weight gain back the weight in 2 to 3 years? Now this is due to a couple of things. One of them being our resting weight, another one being people setting really high standards for themselves that they just can't do. Like not eating dessert for the rest of your life, which is insane and I don't recommend it. And our resting weight is the weight that our bodies are most comfortable to rest at. So often when people try to lose a bunch of weight, they hit a weight loss plateau when your body just stops losing weight even if you keep on cutting excess calories and exercising more. And us hitting a weight loss plateau is basically our body saying, wait a minute, we've been losing weight for a while now. This has to end at some point. And though it is possible and perfectly healthy to move your resting weight to something lower, it requires a lot of consistency and it can be difficult if we set our standards too high. And this is something that I would like to address. Our body's goal is to keep us alive and to conserve energy. And how amazing is that? How even if our bodies are filled with these toxic cultural norms of getting skinnier and skinnier and skinnier, that our bodies are like, hold on, we need to put the brakes on and we need to stay alive right now. I hit a bit of plateau and it really bummed me out until I learned this, until I learned that my body was regulating like a champion and saving me from some pretty destructive habits. Something that I also had to accept was that the fundamental parts of my body would not change. For example, I still have kind of a round face. You know, I don't really have the jawline that could slice through butter. You know, I still don't have a thigh gap. My thighs are the way that they are. They are muscular and powerful, and I love them. And I think it can be very beneficial to just accept that, to accept that that's fundamentally what your body looks like. And, you know, you can't just cut off a limb and then glue on a new one that you think looks prettier. But I've been trying to open myself up to the idea that maybe this is where my body is most comfortable at. Maybe this is enough. Maybe I can love myself just the way I am.
I like you. Very much.
Apart from the smoking and the drinking and the vulgar mother and the verbal diarrhea.
No, I like you very much. Just as you are.
So let's just take a moment to think. What does it mean to love yourself? So let me tell you a story. You and your friend are in the bathroom freshening up. Then your friend sighs, looks over in the mirror and says, "My thighs are so huge today. I hate them. I look ugly." Now you know for a fact that they aren't ugly because one, thick thighs save lives. So you say back, "No, you're so pretty." I'm going to make a controversial statement and say that we are not all beautiful and that we should stop telling our friends that they are. In the book that we were discussing earlier, Renee England's book called Beauty Sick, she reasonably points out that not everyone can have above average looks. In fact, it's statistically impossible that we can all be above average. Renee also addresses the Dove ad campaign approach.
So here we are. This is a sketch that you helped me create, and that's a sketch that somebody described of you.
She looks closed off and fatter. Sadder, too.
It impacts the choices and the friends that we make, the jobs we apply for, how we treat our children. It impacts everything. It couldn't be more critical to your happiness.
And as you can see, even though this ad looks like it's taking away women's body insecurities, it's actually sending the message that women ought to feel beautiful in order to have a good, fulfilling life.
Couldn't be more critical to your happiness.
In the book, Renee talks about an afternoon where she goes into a coffee shop that she normally visits, and she sees a man sitting there who loves to philosophize. And she quotes him saying, "You know, there is no one thing considered beautiful by one culture that is not considered ugly in another, and there is no one thing considered ugly in one culture that is not considered beautiful in another." And you know, before reading this book, I would have wholeheartedly agreed with that man. That was one of the thoughts I was trying to comfort myself with in the midst of my body insecurities. And Renee responds to him by saying, "Nope, that's wrong." She says to him, "What about clear, youthful skin, healthy, shiny hair, an hourglass body shape? What about symmetrical facial features and limbs and large eyes with clear whites to them?" And she says, in another direct quote from the book, "The beauty is in the eye of the beholder argument is firmly at odds with piles of scientific evidence to the contrary. Beauty is to some extent in the eye of the beholder, but to a meaningful extent it is not. Second, the beholder proposition ignores the fact that part of what drives our perceptions of beauty is rarity. Extreme beauty stands out because it is so unusual. If everyone is beautiful, no one is beautiful. I'm not talking about beautiful souls or beautiful dispositions here. I see inner beauty almost everywhere I look, but physical beauty doesn't play by the same set of rules." And I'd like to point out that when we say to our friends, "Oh, you're so beautiful," we're not actually saying that they're beautiful. You're not telling them that they have an impossibly tiny waist, that they have clear skin and big eyes and shiny, healthy hair. Because depending on who your friend is, that could be a lie. Just be a downright lie. So if we aren't saying that, what are we saying? We're saying, I've gotten to know you. I like being around you. I think you're smart and you're funny and wonderful. We have already subconsciously taken the emphasis off of appearance and put it on something more important. We are subconsciously disagreeing with the notion that everyone is beautiful as if it's a moral choice, as if it's an accomplishment. And a great movie example of this, if you just want to internalize this message for yourself, is to check out the 2007 film Penelope.
I knew it. He's the one. He just might be. Hello.
And to give a bit of background to the film, Penelope is a little girl who is cursed with the face of a pig. Her mother constantly sends the message that she needs to deny who she is, that she needs to deny what she looks like and try to just be something else. And spoiler alert, if you don't want to know the ending to the film, skip to the number on the screen, the little timestamp that I have. And she ends up breaking the curse by just accepting herself.
I like myself the way I am.
And though it isn't blatantly stated in the film, I don't think her accepting herself or loving herself in the end, I don't think it was synonymous with her saying, I love my pig nose. And there's an adorable little boy at the end that's like,
it's not the power of the curse, it's the power you give the curse.
And if we are trying to make the point that inner beauty is really what matters, beautiful people aren't the enemy here. They probably still feel the pressure to live up to insane standards and insane rules, and that's still oppression.
Hey, do me a favor, tell Footlong I say hi.
He's my ex-boyfriend, Kirk X. And do you even know why we broke up?
Why, because you guys couldn't decide which one of you was hotter?
No, because he behaved exactly like you're behaving right now. He couldn't handle it. He thought I was perfect. He had me on a pedestal that I couldn't possibly live up to.
The true enemy here is the belief that beauty is of the utmost importance. Being beautiful is not a requirement. There is so much more to a human being than how they look. We should be focusing on what our bodies can do rather than what they look like. To prove this, Renee conducted a study. She got a bunch of women together and gave them fill-in-the-blank statements about their body. The most attractive part of my body is fill-in-the-blank. I love when my clothes highlight my fill in the blank. Now, according to the Dove ad campaign that we covered earlier, you'd think that these would be encouraging statements. After all, they're listing positives about their body. But you'd be surprised to find that these statements actually trigger the opposite effect. So if you're filling in the blanks and you're insecure about your body, then this will just call more attention to your body and you're going to have trouble filling in the blanks and you're going to feel bad. And if you are confident, this will still raise your body awareness and body monitoring, and you'll cater your appearance to others. In the second study, Renee instead gives these statements. I use my arms to fill in the blank. My body helps me to fill in the blank. I love that my body can fill in the blank. We can finally see our body as something that will get us where we want to go. Something that can see and love people and speak our inner thoughts. Feeling good about what our bodies can do can lead to us feeling better about how they look. My body insecurities just seem to fade into the background, and they just don't seem like such a big deal to me anymore. They seem so small and insignificant compared to what's really important.
You're so much smaller than I
This book seriously changed my life. Would highly, highly recommend. I'm going to... Wow, I haven't talked at all today. Oh.